Hey everybody, Sean here from VidGamiac.com. Here we are today back in Yesterday Origins, grabbing the Master of the Castle achievement. This is to get all the interactables in Chapter 4 when you are in the castle church thing. So first off, you want to do a self-examination. You want to hit the Y button, make sure you examine the front of your robes, the medallion, the back of your robes, your hand, and then your shoes. Then what you want to do is you want to go down here to the bottom right corner. You will notice a falcon here. Make sure you examine him and get his talons as well as his beak. Try to exit on the right and then the guards will stop you. And then what you want to do is you want to try to exit on the left and then you'll hit a wall. Alright, once you're done outside, head into the building. First off, you want to interact with the torch on the left side of the wall. Make sure you interact with the gargoyle. There are going to be 4 sub-interactions in here. The gargoyle's mouth, its 2 wings, and then the base. Look at the opposite wall, and they are going to be the same thing, a torch and a gargoyle. Gargoyle is going to have 4 interactions. You actually get an achievement if you look at both gargoyles and do all 8 of their sub-interactions. So once again, face, 2 wings, and the base. Look at both doors, the left one and the right one. Both of them are locked, which means you need a key to get into them. The key is going to be on this middle thing, but we're going to grab that last. So look at the middle thing. I think it's like an emblem or something. Tilt the camera up, and then the key is going to be in this receptacle thing. Use it to open up either one of the doors. I'm going to go on the right one just because. But before you do that, make sure you examine it in your inventory. Remember to examine any items that may fall into your inventory. Alright, now that we are in the main room, what you want to do is you want to go over here. You want to examine the statues of the saints. There is an achievement to do this in alphabetical order, so to get that achievement, you want to look at the right one, get to the first one on the left, and then the middle one right here. Leave the third one for now, and then go to the left side of the room, and then examine this set of statues. You want to examine the middle one here, and then after that go back and then get the last one on the right, then come back to the left side and then get to the one on the left first and then the one on the right. So if you did that in that order, you should get that bonus achievement. I believe it's called the ABC Saints. After that, what you want to do is you want to get the 2 smaller statues. We're going to start off with the one on the right. So just look at it. If you tilt down, you can find the quiver on the right, and then on the left, you will find the crossbow. Make sure you examine both of them in your inventory. Both of them have a secondary examination. The quiver has the emblem on the side, and then the crossbow has its trigger that you want to examine. Then go to the altar in the middle. You want to be very careful with when hitting the A button. Don't hit the A button on the bottom one because that'll send you into the basement and give you a cutscene. Instead, you want to go to the one on the left. You should have this cross right here. It's going to have 5 sub-interactions. You are going to see these holes on each ends of the cross. So there's 1 on each for a total of 4. And then you have the gear in the back, which you need to go into the lower left quadrant in order to get that interaction. Once you get that, the last one in this room before going down to the basement is going to be the window. Look at that, and then head into the basement. You are going to get a cutscene and then end up in this little altar area. Make sure you grab the boot on the left side of the screen, add it to your inventory, and then examine it. Okay, go over to the Irish boy who's strapped to the wood. Make sure you hit Y to examine him. You want to get the leather strap, his red hair, and then a stain at the bottom end of his shirt. Alright, once you have control of your character, you want to head back into the basement area. So what you want to do is you want to look at the giant Y in the background. It's basically the game's logo. Look at the altar. You'll get a little flashback right there. Look at this thing, which is called a torture rack, I believe. Then what you want to do is you want to look at this pentagram in the center of the room. Then you want to get these 5 symbols around this giant hole, and then finally the hole itself. It's basically one of those bottomless well things. You should get a right trigger clue called the alibi. Make sure you hold right trigger and then hit A over it. Then what you want to do is you want to go to the right side of the room. You want to interact with this demon statue in the back and these 2 Reaper statues in the front. If you activate those Reaper statues 6 times, you'll actually get a bonus achievement, so make sure you do that if you want to. Head into the workshop, which is going to be the room underneath the stairs. Look at that bucket above the door. Look at this bit of machinery right here. It has a few sub-interactions. Get the gear, and then there should be a brick knocked out here. You want to interact with it 3 times. You should get a ring as well, so make sure you keep interacting with it until it repeats itself with the description. Interact with the ring once it's in your inventory. It has a sub-interaction, which is to read the inscription. Then you want to look in this window looking thing, which is actually part of the oven or the furnace. Go down here and interact with the anvil. Then you want to interact with this whetstone, which is the wheel thing that you use to sharpen tools and weapons. Then you want to look at this bucket right here. There's going to be a saw that you can grab in there. Make sure you pick that up. That's going to be useful for later. Interact with it once it's in your inventory, of course. Go around this giant pillar, and there should be another bucket right here, but we're going to skip that for now and look at this shelf. There's going to be a few things you can grab here. Make sure you interact with the chalice. Make sure you grab the thread. Make sure you grab the radish powder, and then look into the mirror. After that, you are going to be allowed to grab a tube from that pile right there in that cup. So do that, and you should get a few items. Once you have these items, make sure you interact with them in your inventory. The thread, the radish powder, and the tube. Alright, now you can interact with that bucket. You will grab a pebble out of it and then add that to your inventory. Once it's in your inventory, make sure you examine it again. Head over to the left side of the room. You will notice the bookshelf on the right. We're going to start there. There's a few things you can grab here. Grab this bottle, which is a bottle of sleeping powder. Look at this thing, which kind of looks like a blender bottle. Make sure you look at that. Then what you want to do is you want to grab the quill on the upper shelf right here. Then you have a stack of papers that you'll grab a sheet off of, which is going to be to the right. And then finally, you have a skull on the top shelf. Once again, open up your inventory by holding left trigger to examine the sleeping powder and the paper. Alright, next destination is going to be the lab bench right here. You have a couple of jars and beakers and stuff you can look at. Look at the cage right here, then look at the flask on top, and then finally you have this thing, which I believe is called a still. It's the long tube thing. Look at that, and then you want to look at this cage up here, which has a dead animal in it, and then you want to go over here by Father Hines. Make sure you look at the falcon glove on top. Look at the coins to the left. You can interact with the coins again, so make sure you get those 2 secondary interactions. And then finally look at Father Hines and then do the thing where you hit Y to explore him. You want to make sure you get his face, you want to get his medallion, and you want to get his rope belt thing. Alright, leave and then head back into the basement. Head to the altar. You want to use that radish powder we got from the shelf to wake up the Irish boy. And then once he's woken up, you have to examine him once again. Alright, you're going to do the same things, except this time there's an added description. So get his hair, the leather strap, the stain on the bottom of his shirt, but this time you also have his eyes, which should give you another clue. So make sure you look at that and then unlock that. Hold right trigger and then examine the clue, and then once you're done with that, head back into the workshop. Go to the bookshelf, and this time we are going to use that quill from earlier. You want to combine the eye clue with the paper, and then combine that with the quill to get yourself a written letter. Once you have that written letter in your inventory, make sure you interact with that because it now counts as a separate item. Combine the letter with the tube to get a letter in a tube. Make sure you examine that once you create the new item. Then what you have to do is you have to send this thing. So to do that, first step is to go to the bucket and then combine that with the pebble that we took. That should give you the diversion clue, which you can hold right trigger and then examine to get another one. After that, we need to grab a glove so we can send the message. First step of this is to combine the thread with the quiver to get a bolt with a string attached. Then what you need to do is you need to grab another pebble. So grab that out of the middle bucket in the room in case you forgot. Make sure you examine this when it's in your inventory too, because this counts as a separate item because it's a different rock. Alright, finally we are going to go over here to the left room to distract Father Hines so we can grab the glove. First step, interact with the glove, and you want to combine diversion, the bolt with the string, and then the crossbow. That should set up a little cutscene where you steal it, but that should add the glove to your inventory, and now you can examine it, so do that. Then we're going to head all the way back outside so we can send the letter, head all the way out to the front courtyard, go to the falcon, interact with it by combining the falcon with the glove and then the message. After a little cutscene, we should be back in the church to talk to the Irish woman who has the red hair. Talk to her, she should give you her cape. Make sure you interact with that once she leaves. Then we're going to head back out this way. Talk to the bodyguard and make sure you examine him. You want to get his face, his emblem on his shirt, his robot hand thing, and then the rosary he's holding, as well as his shoes. That should give you the blood clue, which you can right trigger, interact with once it's in your inventory. Then you want to actually talk to him, and after conversing with him, he should give you this item right here. He gives you a pair of boots that you can examine with. So make sure you do that, examine them, and then you will have another item done. Head outside, and now there should be a new area you can go to outside between the castle and the wall, which is going to be this cart, basically. Go over here, then you'll have the cart driver as well as a couple of other interactions. First thing you want to look at is going to be the window. Look at that. And then what you want to do is you want to go over here, look at the barrels right here in the corner, then look at the cart. This is where I popped my achievement. It's going to be for 40 gamer score, but once again, it could pop earlier or later depending on how the game works for you. It's some weird glitch. But once you look at the cart, you want to get the rag on the side, get the barrels right here, and then get the leather strips right here. You should also get the escape clue for your right trigger inventory, so make sure you look at that. Then you want to look at the cart driver, hit Y to explore. You want to get his nose and then his shirt collar. Alright, to get the items in the cart that you need, what you need to do is you need to combine the sleeping powder with the rag. That should put the guard to sleep, and then you can steal the leather strips. Once you have those, you can interact with them once they are in your inventory. And then we have one more last interaction in the chapter. So hopefully you have the achievement by now or get it on this next step. We're going to head back to the basement. You want to combine the saw blade with the two boots we got to build a pair of stilts. Once they are in your inventory, you want to interact with them, and that should be the last one. So hopefully you have the achievement by now, and that's going to be it for this chapter. Don't forget to check back soon where we'll cover the next chapter, obviously. And that's all there is to it.